vast history of all life therein, when every fact, every present or past phenomenon of that universe, every phase of present or past life therein has been classified and coordinated with the rest, then the mission of science will be completed. Science, then, is systematic and accurate knowledge, and when we have systematic and accurate knowledge about everything there is to be known, the program of science will be complete. This is only to say that the task it has set itself is one that will never end. So much then for our definitions. Religion is an attitude to life. Science is systematic and accurate knowledge. How does the one affect the other? What are the relations between the two? That is the topic which will occupy our attention during the chapters that follow. To answer the question properly will involve a certain amount of acquaintance with the history of ideas. We must first put the preliminary question: how, as a matter of fact, have men's scientific ideas affected their religious ideas, or vice versa, in times past? Having tried to answer this question, we shall be in a better position to approach the religious problem as it presents itself today. Meanwhile, a few remarks of a general character will not be out of place. It is evident that science can hardly fail to affect religion. Systematized knowledge necessarily affects an individual's, or a society's, attitude to life, either by broadening and elevating that attitude, or by debasing it. Our knowledge, or what we believe to be such, tends to create certain preconceptions which make our minds hostile to certain beliefs or ideas. A man reared from his cradle on mechanical science will tend to regard miracles with suspicion. If he be logical, as he generally is not, freedom of the will, even in the most limited sense, will appear chimerical. Nor will his general attitude to life remain unaffected by his views on these points. Systematized knowledge may thus conceivably come into conflict with the presuppositions or the ideals of some particular religion. It is then that a religious problem arises. A religion indissolubly associated with a geocentric conception of the universe would tend to become discredited as soon as that conception had been disposed of by systematic knowledge. Science may even tend to produce an attitude to life hostile not only to a particular religion, but to all religion. If materialism should ultimately be found to be consistent with systematic and accurate knowledge, it is difficult to see how any attitude to life which could be appropriately described as religion could survive. The religious problem would then, at any rate, cease to trouble us. The religious apologists would be free to turn their attention to matters of more moment. But it is not only with the cessation of religion that the religious problem slumbers. There are certain happy periods when religion flourishes undisturbed by obstinate questionings. These classical ages of religion exist when systematized knowledge seems to support the contemporary religious outlook, when science and religion speak with one voice. Such unanimity seems to us today too good to be possible, but that is only because our own age is exceptional, not because those happier ages were exceptional. They, in fact, if we trace history backwards, would seem rather to have been the rule. Primitive man, it would seem, was troubled by no discords of the kind which disturb our peace. His systematic knowledge, such as it was entirely in accord with his religion. The two were, in fact, in his case, practically one. His science was his religion. It may not have been very sound science, nor very elevated religion, but it served his purpose admirably. He was too busy with the struggle for survival to indulge in speculation. His religion was severely practical, and he was faithful to it because experience seemed to indicate that it paid. But the Stone Age hardly deserves, in spite of its freedom from religious difficulties, to be described as one of the classical ages of religion. Absence of struggle does not necessarily mean richness of life. There are ages which better deserve that appellation. There are times when all existing culture, even of a high level, is closely associated with the current religion, endorses its ideals, sanctions its hopes, puts the stamp of finality upon its faith.